This last week while I was shoveling snow, I was listening to a book, The E-Myth Revisited by Michael E. Gerber. And in it, he said something that's kind of stayed with me and run through my head over the course of this last week. And the idea was this: how is McDonald's one of the most successful small businesses ever to have existed? And also, while he was discussing this, I remember seeing videos or shorts about The Founder, which is about how Ray Kroc and the McDonald's brothers kind of grew the brand, and then Ray Kroc ultimately bought out the two brothers to become basically the founder of McDonald's. And ultimately, it's not just their burgers and fries that made McDonald's what it is today. It was all about their systems. The systems that Richard and Maurice McDonald created, and then Ray Kroc took nationwide to create the McDonald's that we know. Most people think success comes from talent, motivation, or even luck. But the truth is, we rise and fall to the level of our systems. It comes down to persistence and understanding what works and what doesn't. When things get tough, when motivation runs dry, we don't magically just push through, we fall back on whatever systems we have in place. And in this video, we're going to talk about how you can build systems in your own life to create the consistency, efficiency, and success just like McDonald's did as a business. Of course, if you like this episode, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and let me know what businesses or careers you guys are interested in, and hopefully I can talk about them in a later video. So first, we have to kind of understand the history of McDonald's. This is the first thing that I started to dive into, because when I think McDonald's, I never think small business. It is one of the largest franchising chains across the nation and honestly across the globe. So McDonald's began in 1940 when brothers Richard and Maurice McDonald, also go by Dick and Mac, opened a drive-in restaurant in San Bernardino, California. Initially, their menu featured a wide array of items, including barbecue. However, in 1948, when they're looking to kind of increase their efficiency and profitability, they revamped their success model. They streamlined their operations. They reduced the menu that they actually had and went back to their most popular items. They figured out that almost 90% of their sales were coming from 3 items alone, being burgers, fries, and milkshakes. And they basically said, let's just figure out how we can make this as efficient as possible, because ultimately it's what's making us the most money. And the really key thing that they introduced was the speedy service system, which emphasized very quick service and a consistent quality. From the other restaurants at the time where you drive in, they'd leave a tray. It would take quite a while for you to kind of get your food, maybe 20-25 minutes. This was instantaneous, pretty much. You would order your food and immediately you'd have it in a paper bag that you would then throw away.
What's this? Your food. No. I just ordered. And now it's here.
They talk about this in the movie, how initially it was quite a culture shock. People were refusing to get out of their cars. They want to make sure that they get their food the way they want it. They don't want to eat out of a bag and a wrapper. But over time, it kind of caught on and people realized that this is actually a really good idea. Instead of having to wait very long for food that maybe you wouldn't even get the right order, you end up with your food right then and there within a few seconds flat. So this transformation allowed them to sell hamburgers for 15 cents each. Can you imagine that? 15 cents for a hamburger, cheeseburger, 20 cents for a milkshake. You could get a milkshake, fries, and a cheeseburger for under $1. The success of this model led the McDonald brothers to begin franchising their concept in 1953, starting with a restaurant in Phoenix, Arizona. This efficient system and their limited menu proved to be actually really profitable. This helped prompt the shift to just a sole focus on burgers, fries, and shakes, and that was pretty much it. In 1954, Ray Kroc, a milkshake machine salesman, learned that McDonald brothers were actually using 8 of his machines in their San Bernardino restaurant. And honestly, he was intrigued by their operation. How could a restaurant possibly need 8 of his multi-mixer milkshake machines? There's no way that a restaurant would be able to crank it out that fast. Intrigued by this operation, he visited them and saw the potential for a nationwide expansion. Kroc negotiated to become their franchise agent and opened the first McDonald's franchise in Des Plaines, Illinois in 1955. By 1961, he had purchased the McDonald brothers' equity in the company and was aiming to make McDonald's a global brand. As of 2023, McDonald's operates approximately 41,800 restaurants across over 100 countries worldwide. In 2024, McDonald's reported annual revenues of $25.92 billion, reflecting a 1.67% growth from the previous year. The idea that really launched this global brand that we know today is the speedy service system. Every single process, from taking orders to flipping burgers to cleaning tables, was optimized to be as fast and efficient as possible. This wasn't left to chance either. It was designed, tested, and refined over and over and over until McDonald's could deliver a consistent, high-quality product at an incredible speed. The movie actually has the two brothers creating a kitchen via chalk on a tennis court and having their employees kind of walk through the different stations, kind of miming the different things that they would have to do, from flipping burgers to testing the fries and whatnot. And it also kind of reminded me of marching band for some reason, because you have Dick McDonald up on a ladder just kind of walking through, kind of keeping beat on a ruler. It was just really funny. It made me think of marching band kind of back in my high school days. And the speedy service system was actually very similar to the Henry Ford model of the assembly line production of automobiles. There was a 12-person crew which specialized in very specific areas. The menu was simple and created an innovative solution to allow food to be served basically as quickly as possible while still maintaining a very high quality. And Ray Kroc was able to take this system and spread it across the country. The McDonald brothers had initially tried to franchise in the past, but these other restaurants would stray too far from the system. They even mentioned that some McDonald's were serving burritos and they were tired of people straying from, the success that they had experienced and ultimately their baby, their creation. Implementing this system is what actually allowed for the success of McDonald's. At least that's what I believe. The reason McDonald's was able to grow into a global empire wasn't because it had the best food, it's because it had the best system. It didn't rely on having the most talented chefs or the hardest working employees. It created a system where an 18-year-old with no experience could walk in and within a short time operate at an expert level because the system was built around that. The takeaway? Systems beat willpower. When you have a great system, success becomes automatic. Systems allow for consistent results in our lives. So now let's bring this idea into our own lives. I mean, most of us, I think, rely way too heavily on motivation to get us going. And we say things like, I just need to work harder, or maybe I'll start when I'm ready. But ultimately, it comes down to what systems are in place. What habits do we have that are prompting us to lead to success? Here are a couple things that we can do to actually implement these kind of speedy service systems in our own lives. The first thing, automate good habits. I mean, think about it like you're brushing your teeth. You don't have to remind yourself every night. At least I hope you don't have to remind yourself every night. It's just kind of part of your daily routine. What if working out, reading, or working on your business was just as automatic? Creating these automatic habits takes time, of course, and I think most of us have kind of heard the thought that 21 days is what it takes to cement a habit in our lives. There's also additional studies that say that creating a habit could take anywhere from 18 to 254 days. And I've had to kind of think about this in my own life, and I don't really know what started it, but somehow I've been able to keep a 555-day streak on Duolingo. And I had tried keeping a streak alive before and had never really made it much past a month. I would just kind of get lazy, forget about it, or realize that it's not ultimately something I'd really want to do. But then after a couple of months, it just kind of kept on happening. I just kept doing it day in and day out. And granted, I had some help and motivation from my wife and my mom, who were also keeping a fairly long streak. And I think the same can be done in your life. You have to make the decision every day to work towards your goal and work towards what you want to accomplish. The more we make that decision, the easier and more automated it becomes. So find a way to automate your good habit. Is it something you do at the same time every day? And make sure to try new things as well. Just like the McDonald brothers didn't get it right when they first drew out the kitchen. They had to erase it and rewrite it and redesign everything to make sure everything worked just how they wanted it to be. The second idea is reducing decision fatigue. McDonald's didn't leave anything up to chance. The fries are cooked for the exact same amount of time at the same temperature every single time. The burgers were flipped at exactly the right time. Everything just fell into place because of the systems they created and defined. If you want to eat healthier, instead of deciding what to eat every meal, plan your meals in advance. Do some meal prep on the weekends so that you know you don't have to make the decision when you get home. You already have something ready and planned. If you want to be more productive, schedule your most important tasks at the same time every day. Kind of start building that habit of between this time and this time, I'm going to be working on X. Making your choices ahead of time helps reduce the amount of pull procrastination has on your time. When you have things to do, you can't afford to do nothing instead. The third idea is when things go wrong, what do you fall back on? We kind of need to create a fail-safe for ourselves. If your workout plan is go to the gym for 5 days a week, but life gets kind of crazy, what's your backup plan? Maybe it could be a 15-minute home workout instead. Always have a failback system in place so that you can consistently make progress, even if it's not as big as you had initially planned. And in the book E-Myth Revisited, he talks about a similar idea of when you want to start running, you buy the gear, you get out, and for the first few days, man, you're on top of the world, you're cruising. But then, on Wednesday, it starts raining and it's cold. Or maybe the next day we have to drop off the Amazon return that we have to do before work, so we don't really have time to go for a run. So we have to create these kind of small fail-safes that would still provide progress on our goals, even if it's just smaller steps. That way we're still moving forward and we're not letting procrastination destroy our brand new habit. Try to find ways that you can make small, consistent steps and ultimately become that 1% better each day, even if it's just a small little 1%. Fourth thing is measure and improve. McDonald's was constantly refining its system. If a process isn't working efficiently, then they ultimately ended up tweaking it. And this was something in the movie that I really appreciated. When they're deciding on the revolutionary idea of the speedy service system, they didn't just happen upon it the first time and went, you know what, this is going to work perfectly. It showed the struggle of them trying to refine the system and make it work for them truly. They redrew the line several times over, and they had to make sure everything was just right. They put their employees back out, realized everything wasn't really jiving, and decided, you know what, let's scrap the whole thing, start over, try it again. But they didn't give up. And do the same thing with your own habits. If something's not working the first day, don't just give up, walk away, and give up on your dreams. Try something new. Try a different time. Try something else. Try to find ways and times that will actually make you successful. Track your habits and review what's working and make adjustments as needed. Just because something isn't working initially doesn't mean it's a complete bust either. Work it from a different angle and do something different. And Ray Kroc was able to take the system that the McDonald brothers had perfected and kind of push it to a nationwide brand. So let's break this down into a step-by-step approach so you can start building your own success system today. First, identify your priorities. I would pick 2 or 3 things that you ultimately want to work on over the course of this next month. So what's truly important to you? Is it your fitness? Is it a career goal? Is it learning? Is it relationships? Pick 2 or 3 areas where you want to see consistent success. And step 2 is design your system. What small, repeatable actions will lead to success in those areas? And remember the small steps. We don't want to push for burnout right away because then we end up giving up altogether. Do just enough to keep you motivated and engaged. If you want to improve your fitness, your system might be scheduling workouts at the same time every day, prepping your meals on Sunday, and setting a daily step goal. In my exercise routine, I've been riding kind of a stationary bike. And when I first started, I was doing probably about 7.5 miles in 30 minutes, which is, fine. It's nothing amazing. But I figured that it was as good a start as any, and then I continued measuring and pushing. I never really pushed myself to the brink of absolute exhaustion because then I would just get up the next day and realize, you know what, I don't really feel like it, and it would kind of stop me from making progress. And now I'm almost able to do about 20 miles in an hour. I was just 1 minute off this last time I rode on the bike. Find ways that you can measure and prove your success. Step 3, remove friction. Make it easier for you to follow through. If you want to read more, place a book on your nightstand or pillow the night before. If you want to improve in your job or career, then study what other people are doing in the same industry and learn from them and their mistakes. What did they do to succeed? Learn from what they did and try to find ways to innovate and create value, and ultimately that is how you'll find success in your career. Step 4, track your progress. Success isn't about perfection, it's about consistency. Use a habit tracker, journal, or app to monitor your progress and make improvements over time. I have an idea of what I want it to look like from habit trackers that I've used in the past, but leave a comment down below on what you think. What works best for you to track your progress? Is it an app or is it kind of a motivation journal? What do you guys use to track your progress? And step number 5, adjust as needed. If something isn't working, tweak the system, not the goal. McDonald's didn't get everything right the first time. They improved over decades and years of experience. Do the same with your own habits. Realize it takes time, but also it takes a lot of effort and some consistent steps towards change. I believe McDonald's succeeded not because it had the best hamburger or the best product, it simply had the best system. And the same thing applies to you. If you're struggling to stay consistent, if you feel like you're always starting and stopping, it's not because you're not capable, it's because you need better systems. When you build great systems, success becomes inevitable. Design your environment, automate your habits, and create the systems that will carry you to success. Also, let me know if you guys like this kind of a series. It's been something I've been thinking about, maybe looking at the different businesses and companies and brands that are now very prevalent in our lives and seeing where they started. It's kind of a similar thing to what I've been doing with interviewing people in different careers. You kind of assume that they were always big and successful and creative, and maybe they just got lucky, but seeing that humble beginning, I think, can kind of help us bridge that gap for our own lives, because ultimately it's not just about overnight success. Ray Kroc even talks about this in one of his quotes where he's like, yes, I was an overnight success, but 30 years is one long night. It took a long time for him to find the brand that he really stuck with and really resonated with, and that's what led to create the McDonald's that we know today. And it's a similar thing to what I did with when I interview people. Seeing how they became a veterinarian, the different jobs they worked in your life, hopefully helps you see somewhat of a roadmap for you in your own life. If you found this helpful, make sure to like and subscribe and drop a comment below on what system you're going to build in your life. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.